All right, it's a Wisdom Wednesday where you drive the agenda, and on this segment of the Sales Gravy podcast, you bring the biggest sales challenges, and Jeb Blount delivers his best answers. And those answers, they come straight from the trenches because Jeb's not just teaching sales, he's out there prospecting, closing, and leading sales teams every single day. Before we jump in, here's a quick update. On June 10th and 11th, we have a Fanatical Prospecting Bootcamp in Buckhead, Atlanta that's going to be covering overcoming call reluctance, overcoming prospecting objections more efficiently, and adding more deals to the pipeline so you and your small sales team can win more in 2025. If you haven't, go to salesgravy.com/live to go ahead and sign up. It's June 10th and 11th in Buckhead, Atlanta. Those tickets are going fast. This is Sales Gravy Live. Go to salesgravy.com/live. All right, let's take another caller. Next up is John Buehler from Jacksonville, Florida.
Hey, Jeb, this is John Buehler. I'm a business broker in Jacksonville, Florida. Really enjoy your content and believe in it a lot. My question is how do you maintain the consistency and the intensity with the prospecting? I find myself when I do these sprints to get momentum, but fail to keep that momentum going for long, sustained periods of time. So do you have any tips or tricks for your listeners to help keep them on track for long-term success?
Well, John, this is a great question. It's a question that a lot of people grapple with, but it's not just prospecting. It's like, okay, so I'm pretty good at maintaining my diet for a while and then I lose my motivation, or I'm really good at eating well for a while, but I lose my motivation, or I'm really good at working out for a while, but then I lose my motivation. And if you think about it, really anything that we do that is difficult or hard, it's easy to lose our motivation. So the first thing we have to think about is how do we turn prospecting or any of these things that are difficult into a habit? We want to begin there. How do we make it into something that we wake up every single day and it's just part of who we do? A good resource for that, by the way, is James Clear's Atomic Habits. It's a fantastic book, highly recommend. And there's some really good lessons that you can learn there about creating great habits in your life with all of the things that are difficult to do. With prospecting in particular, a couple of things that you want to think about. Number one, your question about maintaining your motivation is why so many salespeople are hanging out at the Feast or Famine amusement park riding on the desperation roller coaster. You lose your motivation until suddenly you have an empty pipeline and your boss is screaming at you and your income is suffering, and suddenly you find your motivation again and you start prospecting like crazy. And so you have this up and down and up and down, and it's incredibly stressful. It fills you with anxiety. And for a lot of salespeople, they get so far down sometimes that there's no way that they can pull themselves out of that hole. So they end up moving to another company because they lose their job. And that's something you want to avoid. Also, understanding that when you are on the desperation roller coaster, when you get desperate because you have an empty pipeline, because you weren't prospecting, suddenly you get really bad at all the other parts of selling. You get pushy and pitchy. You come off as desperate and insecure. People want to buy from you. You start focusing on what you need versus what your prospect needs. Your discovery questions get more shallow. You skip steps in the sales process, and essentially you become a discounter because that's the only thing that you have. You no longer negotiate. Your closing skills deteriorate. You just fail on all levels. So one of the things that you really have to pay attention to is the penalty for you when you lose your motivation for prospecting. When I'm in that situation, and I mean, let's be clear, nobody really likes to prospect. That's the one thing that I keep in my head. I know that when I have a full pipeline that I sell better. I know when I have a full pipeline that I can sell like I don't have to sell. I know when I have a full pipeline, I have less stress and I have more confidence. So whenever I'm in a situation where I'm thinking I'm going to stop prospecting for a day, I remember what the penalty is for not prospecting. And by picturing that pain, it gives me the motivation to keep prospecting. You also have to internalize the 30-day rule. It's something I talk about a lot, which is the prospecting that you do in any given 30-day period has a tendency to pay off for the next 90 days. So if you take a day off, it's going to hurt you. You take a week off, it's going to bite you really bad. You take a month off and you are going to tank your pipeline. So one of the things that keeps me motivated when I'm prospecting is knowing that I cannot afford to take a day off because of the impact down the road. Because typically when you prospect a day, you don't sell something today, you sell something later. So you have to visualize again what would happen to you if you quit prospecting. But more importantly, when you think about prospecting, something that is hard to do, that you don't want to do, that is a pain to do, one of the things that you really want to think about is what is it that's driving you? Like, why are you doing this? So in fanatical prospecting, one of the lessons I give you is that the only thing that really matters when it comes to prospecting is how bad do you want it? But that how bad do you want it question is not about how bad do you want to prospect, because nobody really wants to prospect. It's what do you want in your life that prospecting is going to give you? In other words, what are your goals? My good friend Victor Antonio calls this the big pull. Like, what is pulling you forward? So when you wake up in the morning and you're staring at that phone and you're thinking to yourself, like, I just can't do this today, what you start thinking about instead is that thing that you want that's on the other side. What's that thing that is pulling you? Because when you focus on that, you'll find the motivation to prospect. Because anything that you want out of sales from a success standpoint is paid for in advance with prospecting. So what I would suggest to you first is make sure that you are clear with the pain or the penalty that comes from skipping a day of prospecting. If you're clear with that and you can picture that in your head, it can help you focus on doing the thing that you need to do today to avoid that pain in the future. But at the same time, think about what's pulling you forward. Like, what is it that you want? You prospect so that you can sell things so that you get a big paycheck. What are you going to do with that paycheck? How is that paycheck going to help you achieve your goals in your life? And focus on that and use that visualization of that thing that's pulling you forward, that big pull, that goal, to help you get over the hump on a day when you're looking at the phone and you just don't want to make the call.
If you've got a question for the show, go to salesgravy.com/ask and submit the form. One of our producers will reach out to you directly to schedule your session on the Ask Jeb podcast. Now, let's button this up with a final thought. John's question hits on a truth that haunts even the most seasoned sales pros. It's easy to go hard in short bursts, but it's just as easy to fall off. That's the trap of the desperation roller coaster, because prospecting in short sprints creates a short-term buzz. But it's the reps who build consistency into their identity that wins long-term. So here's the real challenge. Can you develop the discipline to prospect when you don't feel like it? Because the hard days matter most. When you feel resistance, that's not the signal to stop. It's the signal to lean in. The salespeople who win are the ones who sell when it's inconvenient, when it's uncomfortable, and when no one is watching. So remember, prospecting is rent, and it's due every single day. Your income, your confidence, and your future pipeline are all paid for in advance with consistent daily activity. So the next time you feel like skipping your call block, stop. Picture the pain of an empty pipeline, and then do the work anyway. And when you're tired, when you've given everything you've got, and when you're tempted to call it a day, make one more call. This is Jeb Blount Jr., and we'll see you next time on the Sales Gravy Podcast.
Hey, I'm doing a happy dance because you watched this video. Make sure that you click like and subscribe so that you never miss one of our amazing sales training videos.